This is Sanya on air. This is Sanya on air. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing edition of Sanya on Air. I am your host, Sanya Hudson-Payne, and I have an exciting show planned for you today. But before I tell you who I have on today's show, I just want to do a few housekeeping items. Make sure that you subscribe to all Sanya on Air streaming platforms on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and also Buzzsprout. So joining me on today's show, like I promised you each and every single episode of Sanya on Air, I have another amazing guest. Joining me very shortly, I have none other than Zac Diles of VH1's Love and Listing. So without any further ado, let's just bring Zac onto today's show. Zac, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm
good?
We're good. Some people don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but we kind of work it out.
You got to do it.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just housewarming, keeping things. I just moved recently, so I just got some furniture delivered this morning, and just trying to set the space off right, man. So it's a lot of can't complain.
I hear you, but it's still early in LA, so you got up kind of early today. What time did you wake up?
Man, so I'm always every day I'm up by 6:30. It's just kind of ingrained in me from playing football and things like that. So I literally, if I sleep past 6:30, it's a surprise to me. I'm like, oh, okay, I slept in today, 7:15, cool. So it's just literally like that.
You just made me feel bad, Zac, because I don't get up until about 9:30-ish on a good day. So
I mean, it's all good. It's all good.
But I don't go to sleep until about 3 or 4 in the morning. So.
Oh, so you take power naps then? That's kind of just like a little power nap.
Yeah, I like that term better.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's just jump right into the show. I'm a huge fan since season 1. We're currently in season 2. But how did you become a cast member on VH1's Love and Listings?
So it kind of fell into my lap, right? This all happened back in 2015. So I was working for a company called Agents of LA with Ty, that's on the show. And this was pretty much his idea. So he's really good friends with Ray J. And, our offices were at Ray J's dad's studio. So one day I'm sitting in there and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, bro, I got this idea for this show. I want to call it Agents of LA because that was the name of the company. He was like, you're a 8-year NFL vet. You're a good looking guy. You're single, this, da. What do you think? And I was like, all right, let's see what happens. And then it grew from there. So that's literally how this platform started.
Wow.
Me, Ty, and, day one, it was his idea. He approached me about it, and he was like, all right, cool, man. Let's see what happens. And then it just grew from there.
Wow. See, a lot of people don't really understand the inner workings behind all of these major television shows. So let's talk about the process. From the time that you had the conversation, someone asked if you wanted to be on the show, to the time that you started filming. How long did that entire process take? Because people think it happens overnight, and it doesn't.
It was 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Like I said, we started in 2015. And maybe 6 months after that, we started casting people. That's when Taylor came on and, Sarah. So me, Ty, Taylor, and Sarah are the 4 original. We had a different cast before, Eric, Andrew, Ajani, and those, and Samantha, and all them came across. But so it was about a 2.5-year process, and just from when we decided to do it, now we're just driving around doing little snippets, trying to make a little sizzle reel. Something to pitch. And so we're doing random little filming and things like that, just getting some footage together. And they started submitting it to people, and next thing you know, VH1 reached out and was interested in what we were doing, and the rest is kind of history. But it was from start to actually getting our pilot picked up was 2.5 years.
Wow. That's a long time for most people, but in Hollywood, that's a short amount of time.
Yeah. No, really, in retrospect, what we're doing, it really is when we shot our pilot and we submitted it, we got picked up like a month later, or like a matter of weeks later. You know what I mean? So it was so once we kind of got the ball rolling, things started going pretty rapidly.
I like to hear that. And, as you're speaking, I'm thinking maybe the wheels were turning and everything happened to turn around so quickly. The show definitely fills a void on television. And I'm still a fan of the show on Bravo, $1 Million Listing. But I was happy to see VH1's Loving Listing because it showed people of color and the whole real estate game. And I love to see that because you think that we existed before this show. So do you also watch Bravo's $1 Million Listing? And what do you think about it?
Oh, yeah, I watch it. I usually watch the New York one. The LA one is, I don't know why. I like the New York one better. I know James and David from the LA $1 Million Listings. They're great people, but like you said, we're filling a void of African Americans out here. We do this too, you know what I mean? But if you look at the luxury market out here in LA, we don't have any market share in listings, and it's just so it's trying to break that barrier. It's like, okay, we understand y'all, but we're out here too. We can do this too. So having this kind of a platform to get that out there, it's bigger than just being on TV. You know what I'm saying? So it's opening up those eyes and those doors for other individuals who look like us in other states and people who might not know I want to do this too. Like, yeah, do that shit. Like, do it. Like, don't think you can't do it. Yeah. Like, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because it definitely gave a lot of people hope and inspiration who probably thought that they could never enter into that career. So I'm glad that, this show exists. But have the two shows been pitted against each other, because they are kind of similar?
I mean, somewhat. You got it. But, on $1 Million Listings, they have, you look at their show, they're doing transactions like every episode, you know what I mean? Which is okay. I get it. But at the same time, being in the real estate market out here and knowing and understanding is like a lot of, not every one of those sales is a real sale. You know what I'm saying? But so people kind of get like, you guys don't sell any houses on your show. Another episode and nobody sold it. I'm like, you got to understand, we're trying to break in. That's what our show is trying to do, is trying to outline like we're here too. So if we were on our show selling houses every episode, that wouldn't be realistic because where we are in our careers, like that's why we're doing this, to try to, get the awareness out there. Like, we're here, we do this too. So everybody wants to gripe and bitch about, oh, you guys, another episode coming, nobody sold anything. I'm like, if you want to show, like, dude, you look at $1 Million Listings, they've been in the real estate game. Everybody on that show has been doing this 10, 15, 20 years, right? Like, I'm 4 years into this, you know what I mean? And most of the cast member on our show, we're breaking into this. So, right. And with that being said, I've sold $15 million worth of real estate in the last 4 years being in this business. So it's like, look, just understand it's I see, we see the $1 Million Listings. We love it. It's great. You know what I mean? But it's just like where we are in our careers and what we're trying to do. That's what the platform is for, to gain that awareness and open up those avenues so we can start getting on that platform as well. So, it's just a work in progress.
Got you. So as the show builds up its momentum and the cast members build up their experience, I'm also seeing that the show is coupled a little bit with, well, let's say a lot of drama. A lot of drama. You have a Johnny and Taylor going on again for the second season. You also have, who is it? A Johnny and Andrew.
Yeah.
Going at it again for the second season. I just want us to be mindful of the content that we are putting out there as people of color and making sure that we are not filling it with drama-filled episodes, but giving us tangible experiences of growth that we can really rely upon as a people. So what do you think about all the drama that is continuing through season 1 and now into season 2?
I mean, it's just one of those things where, after season 1, with the whole Ajani and Andrew of it all, it was just kind of left open-ended because you understand the last episode when, Andrew is sitting there and we're all around and, he has like his phone mishap. He was like, oh, he just had his phone in his hand. And all of a sudden when he's getting called out, he's like, oh, my phone's in the car. It was like, oh no. Like, oh no. Like that's where he met. That's, you know what I'm saying? Just want to keep it real. That's like, because, if you're gonna rock with the whole story, like I didn't do anything, well, you better be rock solid with that. But when he did that, he fumbled the rock. You know what I'm saying? And we're on a TV show. There's cameras everywhere. I'm like, you think they're not gonna run with this shit? You just gave them a segue into like, because now it's like, oh, he did do this. Like, what is like, because if you didn't, then what? So I'm like, going into a season 2, it's like, bro, you gave them an opening to still have this storyline center front, because you left it open-ended with that whole, I'm like, oh, bro, that's where, so it's kind of, it's like, yo, what do you want to do, bro? It's like, I don't understand. I don't know what you were on a TV show, you know what I mean? So it's of course they're gonna
either, because he's sticking to the story, even though it seems quite apparent that he did step out and have a relation, an episode, an entanglement, if you must, with the Johnny. But I do applaud you, brother, because you're holding people accountable for their BS. You're letting Taylor know, listen, I need you to kind of calm down and kind of grow up a little bit. You're holding Andrew accountable, telling him, listen, I think you're lying a little bit and there's a lot of untruths here. Is that difficult for you to do on camera?
Nah. Like, look, what you see from me is what you get. You feel me? Like, I'm not here for the I'm okay, cameras. I'm like, don't think these cameras are gonna save you. You feel me? And it's the same with me. If I'm on some bullshit, you call me, okay, I'm not, these cameras can't. So I'm like, dude, like, look, with the whole, like I said to Andrew and I were cool. You feel me? So like in season 1, like, so when I was really dating Kat, people think our show is like fake. You know what I mean? It's not like, nah, like Kat and I were legit dating, right? So
about Kat from Black Ink crew.
From Black Ink, Chicago.
Black Ink, Chicago, right, okay.
Yeah. In season 1. So this was off camera. Kat and I went out with Andrew and Jalissa, his wife now, right? Off camera. We hung out. Like, we went bowling. So like now I'm more intertwined in this shit because my girl at the time has now met your fiance. Right. So when I'm going home telling her about the stuff that we're filming and everything is coming out with Andrew and Ajani, I'm telling Kat about it. She's like, oh, well, I wonder what's going on with Jalissa. So I'm getting it from 2 different angles because I met her. You know what I mean? I'm like, Andrew, like, I'm intertwined in your bullshit now because Kat has met your lady, bro. So when I'm going home telling her about what's going on filming and shit, she's wondering how Jalissa feels. So I'm like, Nick, I'm getting it from every angle here, dog. You know what I mean? So when he's like, I'm disappointed in the guys, I'm like, bro, like, we had a scene where we brought you to the house and we were sitting around the kitchen. You know what I mean? Whether you felt attacked, I'm like, that was a moment where you could have been like, all right, guys, look, I messed up. At that point, we could have, like I said in the other day's episode, we tried to cloak you in our brotherhood, bro. Like, we brought you and tried to give you you know what I mean? Like, what happened? But you wanted to ride with this shit that you did. And then you fumbled the rock when the whole phone situation, but you want to be mad. You disappointed at us. Like, bro, don't be mad at us because now your bullshit is starting to come full center. Now you mad at us. Oh, you disappointed in us. Like, nah, bro, it don't work like that. It don't work like that.
Like, people will hold on to their lies until they can't hold on anymore. But I'm glad that you gave us more context because it shows that you really had some sort of personal attachment to their relationship. And this is why you were so vocal in telling Andrew, listen, brother, you're dead wrong. But just speaking about, your audacity to be bold, you mentioned, you having your relationships on display on television. You mentioned Kat. Now we see you exploring your relationship with Samantha. That was both, brother. Most people don't put their relationships on television. Do you regret it?
Nah, like I said, I'm I signed up for this, you know what I mean? So you take what comes with it. And, with the whole Samantha of it all, it just kind of, like, so Samantha, we don't see each other, you know what I'm saying? Like, outside of like film, we don't hang out. Like, I've literally probably seen Samantha since we dated it for a few months in 2015. So up until now, 2020, I can count on like both hands how many times like I've seen her outside of filming. Like, we don't hang out like that. So when, the whole thing happened in season 1, I had a girlfriend and she just kept coming at me and everybody's like, you humiliated her in season 1. And I'm like, bro, time out. Like, nobody wants to talk about the fact when she came up to me and told me I literally, hey, look, I have a girlfriend. Like, I'm doing this. But when you keep pressing the issue, now you keep coming at me with this bullshit. And all of a sudden, now we're in a scene. I can have you anytime I want to. Whoa. Because now you're disrespecting my entire relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like now you're not only disrespecting me, you're disrespecting my lady. And she's gonna see this shit.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, now you know how women, like if I just sit here and let that shit ride off and I giggle about that, I'm gonna be sitting next to Kat. That's why she thinks that shit, because you just laughed at it. That's why she thinks she could do that shit, because you're like, nah. So when you come at me, like, time out. You could, hey, stop it. Fucking stop.
Wait a minute.
Like,
I gotta pull your card a little bit, Zac, because maybe she can have you anytime she wants to, because once your relationship kind of ended with Kat, we now see in season 2, you're in the hot tub with her.
You got to understand, though, like season 1 was filmed 3 years ago.
Really?
That was filmed in 2017.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like Kat and I broke up in 2018.
Okay.
Like, so 2.5 years have gone by, you know what I mean, since that happened. So I've been out here in the dating mode. Kat's doing how I'm doing me. I've been single for 2.5 years. So when we come in, like I said, and Samantha and I don't hang out. So the first scene we did was that golf course scene. That was the very first scene we filmed for this season. So I'm on a golf course with her now. I ain't seen her in a while. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a dating phase. I've been dating. So I'm sitting on this golf cart like, maybe, well, you know what I'm saying? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like,
something kind of right?
I'm like, maybe, like, why not? You know what I mean? Then I sent her that. I was like, I was finna kiss you. And then she played that shit for Eric and Sarah.
That was whack.
I'm like, okay, so that's kind of what expedited our whole storyline, because again, that shit is on camera. Like, they have that now. So you don't think they're gonna run with this? Like, you know what I mean? Because you played this voice message I sent to you, to Eric and Sarah, and now I got Sarah coming up to me talking about finna. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, I heard a voice message. I'm like, oh, she played that for you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, I mean, I don't know what kind of response she wanted from me. I was like, well, it's my voice, so I don't know. Like, clearly that was me. So, like, I mean, yeah. So I don't know what she expected. I don't know what she was trying to get from that, but
yeah,
here we go.
It was very immature. I call it. She did it the August Alsina. You know, she put everything on Front Street, like your relationship. And if you're trying to build a relationship, that's not anyone's business except the person that you're trying to build with. So that was a little bit immature on Samantha's part. But let's just kind of, change lanes a little bit and get back to the real estate and everything. So as a estate agent living in LA, do you only deal with celebrities?
I mean, no, I do the whole gamut. It's just, you got with me, in my background, it just kind of segued into that naturally because of the people that I know and what I used to do for a living. So my very first sale in real estate was for $4.3 million to a former teammate of mine. Like 6 months into being a realtor, right? I get a phone call from a guy, like all that, everything in season 1 is real. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, it's fake. No, the house that I'm in with Joe Hayden, like I actually sold him that house. Roger Sapo, who I'm in, like I sold him a house. You know what I mean? So it's like, but Joe hit me up and I sold him that house and we closed at 4.3. And that was like in the early stages of my career. But that's what kind of turned the tide, right? Because now it was to the point where these luxury agents are reaching out to me because they know I have clients who can close at this magnitude. So I'm sitting at the house, but hey, Zac, how you doing? This is such and such. We just want to invite you to this personal brokers open to look at this new $6 million house we got coming on. I'm like, oh, you calling me? Oh, I see how this shit works. Okay. Okay. Now you know that. So I got my foot in the door now. Okay. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, it just kind of like you just start paying attention to how everything starts moving, and you know what I'm saying? So it's been a hell of a journey, but but we here now, and just one day at a time.
Yes, we're definitely here now. So is that sort of like the traditional blueprint for NFL players after they leave the NFL to transition into real estate?
No, see, that's the thing. It was like, for me, I'm kind of writing the book because there's nobody out here with my background that does what I do that looks like me. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't like I can pick up the phone, but hey man, hey OG, like how did you, when you got to this step, what happened? How did you? Nah, there's nobody. So I'm literally like writing the book as I go. I'm going, okay, all right, well, fuck. I mean, there's people you can reach out to mentor, but with my specific background and people, You know what I mean? Like there isn't many guys, like at this level in Los Angeles at this level. So when you start realizing that, you're like, all right, man, I'm just out here. Like, all right, cool. So figure it out.
Untapped market.
Right.
But let's just talk about the NFL, your career in the NFL, 8 years, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now,
yes.
when we speak to Black men in general, especially, let's say Black boys, little boys,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, Lil Zac, what do you want to do when you become an adult? And, the little Black boys always like, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to be a rapper, or I want to be in the NBA. When you told someone that for the first time as a little boy, what was the response that you received? Was it inviting or was it discouraging?
You know what's funny? Like I didn't start playing football until I was a freshman in high school. Like I was 14 years old when I started playing football. So it wasn't I didn't grow up like, oh, I'm going to the NFL, because I played soccer, basketball, baseball, but I was the chubby kid growing up. Okay. So like I tried to play football in 6th grade, but I didn't make weight to play with the kids my age. So I had to play with the older kids, and I went out there and I got blasted, right? I got a stinger. I'm 11, 12 years old, and I didn't know what it was. I said, I'm not doing it no more. In 7th grade, I didn't even try. Like I didn't try out. I was like, I'm not doing it. And I have an older brother who's really good in football. So now I'm in 8th grade. He's in high school. You know what I mean? And again, I was chubby. So I tried, but I didn't make weight to play football in 8th grade. So literally my freshman year of high school was my introduction into football, like year round, and just finally being able to play. And so I never really had those conversations. Was like, oh yeah, I'm going to I'm blessed. I'm fortunate. I have a talent. I got better at it as the years went on. I just started harnessing it. You know what I mean? So it was a hell of a. It's been crazy.
Yeah, true athleticism, because you don't find people or NFL veterans who say, I just started playing football in high school. You would see years of training, years of love for the game, especially, since they were little children. So that's very different to hear about. But 8 years in the NFL, where traditionally NFL players only last about 3.5 years.
Yes.
So what can you attribute to your 8-year success in the NFL besides athleticism?
Accountability, showing up. I was never late to a meeting. 8 years. I take that seriously. You know what I'm saying? Because like, not only is that disrespectful to everybody else's time, but it's just like it's just respecting people's time and just being accountable to yourself and others. You know what I mean? So I was a 7th round draft pick. You know what I mean? And you're not supposed to make the team as a 7th round draft pick, but I made the team as a rookie. I was the lowest drafted draft pick to ever make the team outright after training camp, you know what I mean, for the Houston Texans. And then, in my year 2, I was a starter, you know what I mean? So it was just boom, 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 boom. Cause I don't play, you feel me? Like I'm literally like, I don't give a shit. Like if I'm here, I'm gonna be here, you know what I'm saying? And you gonna understand it. And you treat people the right way. You gotta, that's why I try to mentor and tell these kids, like, everybody's watching you, you know what I'm saying? So don't think that, like, I'm able to sell houses to former teammates of mine now because they know how I am. They know how I work. They know that I'm not the guy that's going to be late to shit. I wasn't the guy that the coaches had to be like, yo, where's ZD at? Da, 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 da. And then when I'm on the field, I handle my business. When I'm in the locker room, I handle my business. So these guys know what I'm about. So they're like, oh, shit, ZD. But there's some teammates where I wouldn't pick up the phone and call you for, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, I need you to pick my dog up. I wouldn't trust you to pick my dog up from the kennel, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like, every day, because you got to understand, when you're in that profession, NFL is like not for long, right? So again, my teammates, they're all going to venture off and do other things at some point. And so if you've had a good standing relationship with them, and like I said, I'm in real estate now, I'm able to reach out to them and be like, hey, look, I'm doing this, that, and a third. You know anybody? Oh yeah, ZD, da 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 da. It's all love. You know what I mean? So it's just a respect thing. You give respect, respect's gonna give back. So it works. It works.
I love it. I'm glad that you mentioned, the NFL stands for not for long.
Mm-hmm.
And we also talked about, you having an 8-year career as opposed to the traditional 3.5 years. But let's just also talk about only 80% of NFL players maintain their money after they retire. So I'm glad to see that you successfully transitioned into another field.
Yeah.
A lot of players aren't that successful though. So it makes me think about, let's just put the physicality aside. What intrinsic characteristics does the NFL provide players with so that they can be successful monetarily after they leave the NFL?
It's interesting because, when you have those meetings, when they bring people in to talk to you about, the 401k, it's middle of the year or right after like the second week of training camp, and they bring this person in after a 3-hour practice. So you're sitting in the meeting room, you're like, oh my God, like I'm hurting. Who is this person talking? And because we gave you the points, but you're not really focused. You know what I mean? When they have these meetings, you're not really in there trying to listen to what they're talking about, because you're like, man, look, I'm hurting, I'm tired. Like, what is this nigga talking about, man? Where do I sign, bro? Like, what do I just like? And then again, you got to understand, going back to me playing, most of these guys have played football since they were 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, right? So if you make it to the NFL and you've had a 8, 9, 10-year career, you've been playing football for 20 years, 20 plus years. That's been your notoriety. That's what's gotten you through life. So now at 29, 30, 31, you don't have that no more. You're like, oh shit, what do I do next?
Right.
Like damn, like, because football's giving me everything so I'm like, that's where a lot of guys fall into when they're done playing. They're like, well, damn, like, I don't have football no more. And no. You start feeling bad about yourself. Like, what's my shit? I was 29 years old when I retired. I was like, bro, I'm 29, bro. Like, I got, Lord willing, I got a whole bunch of life left to live. The fuck I look like just sitting here? Like, I got 8 years worth of contacts in this phone. You know what I mean? And I'm from California. And I was like, real estate, I was doing real estate while I was still playing. So my last year in Cleveland, I had signed with Cleveland. So I'm looking at a Cleveland Browns playbook, and I'm doing my real estate principles on this side, and I'm looking at a playbook. So I'm going over here doing this, and all right, let me learn this cover. All right, cool. Like, what is what? Like, oh shit, okay. You know what I mean? So it's like I was doing both of those at the same time, because I knew when I was like, all right, I don't like, so it was,
But not everybody's as smart as you, Zac. And from what you're telling me, the NFL really isn't doing a spectacular job in making sure that the players are prepared monetarily after they leave. Some sort of financial literacy, and that shouldn't take place after you've been practicing on the field, for 3+ hours.
Yeah. And then you got to think too, a lot of, I was 21 years old when I got drafted, so wow. you in college, my scholarship check every month was and I went to Kansas State. So I think it was like $515, right? And that was supposed to last you for the month, paying bills, everything. And then, I'm fortunate enough to get drafted. And my rookie year is 2007. I make the team, and every Tuesday I go to my locker room. I got a $10,000 check sitting in that shit. So I'm like, oh shit, this is all me. Like, this is mine.
Right.
And you get, it's, you 20 now. I turned 22 right before the season, so you're 22 years old, and you coming from college where you struggling now. At 22, I just cleared $225,000. You know what I mean? At 22 years old, shit, don't tell me what. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And I got like 4 months in the off season to go. What? Like,
right.
Shit. And you got to think, like, a lot of, now I can do things that my friends can't, you know what I mean? So I'm in a small town, I go home now, and, and this is like a lot of people's stories. You go home and you don't want to be the guy that forgot where he came from, right? Because that's what everybody puts that on you. Everybody wants to put that on you immediately. Oh, you forgot where you came from. I mean, it is what it is. But so now, I can eat at Ruth's Chris. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to Chili's. Like, I can eat at Ruth's Chris now. You know what I'm saying? But my 4 or 5 homeboys can't. So you're like, fuck it, man. Come with me. You know what I mean? So now your $100 meal turns into a $700 meal because you got 5 people with you. You know what I mean? And now you go into the mall. You got your boys with you, and I'm shopping. I can come in here. I can buy some shoes. But I don't want you niggas to just be sitting here staring at me.
Right.
Hey man, pick up some shit. So now your $400 shopping spree turns into a $2,000 shopping day. You know what I mean? It's because now you're like, fuck, man, y'all niggas pick something up, man. It's all love. Pick something up. Like, it got to the point when I retired, I had to reteach my friends how to hang out with me. Like, because they got so used to me being just picking up the tab. So now they're calling me for shit. Hey, ZD, come out. So I'm like, I'm looking at stuff. I'm like, nigga, my tab, I spent like $113 today at this dinner, but why am I leaving spending $400? Like, oh, because you bought all this extra shit, knowing that I would.
Right.
Okay, and I can't get mad at them for that because that's what they got used to.
Yeah.
So I had to literally reteach them. Like,
and I'm glad that you just mentioned that again. I was going to ask you to say that again. Reteach your friends.
Yeah.
Not too many people get that. They subscribe to, just having their friends kind of tag along. Mm-hmm. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault at all, but it is up to you and us as individuals to say, this is too much, especially when you see your bank account dwindling. So we're smart guys, Zach, to be so young. How old are you? What, 35?
Yeah, I just turned 35 a little over a month ago.
Nice. Well, I'm just going to let you know my birthday's tomorrow. So tell me happy birthday.
Okay. Hey, Feliz cumpleaños. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you so much.
That's
now,
what's up.
I want to talk about something else. It's very, very important, especially in this whole racially unjust climate. I'm going to talk about a few things that relate to this racially unjust climate. But as a former NFL player, how did you feel about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee?
I mean, with that whole thing, everybody. So again, I was drafted in 2007, right? My first 2 years in the NFL, like for the national anthem, we weren't even outside for it. Like, you know what I mean? We would go warm up, you know what I mean? Get to the stadium, put your stuff on, go warm up. And when the national anthem came on, we were back. I'm walking back into the locker room to sit in my locker and listen to Tupac. You know what I mean? I'm getting in my, that's the time I'm getting in my zone. You know what I mean? So it wasn't until 2009 because the NFL got paid for us to be outside, to be outside. You know what I mean? They got paid. The NFL started getting paid to have the players, the teams out there for the national anthem. My first 2 years, we weren't even out there. So I'm listening to this shit. I'm like, what is all this now? Like, what happened? Like, when I first got into the NFL, we weren't even on the field for the national anthem. Now Colin Kaepernick takes a knee trying to protest, a peaceful protest for something, and you want to switch the narrative to talk about it's disrespectful to the flag and it's this, that, and the third. But I'm like, dog, like, wait a minute. Like, I know people in the army, like, aren't they? They're going over there fighting for everything, our justice, our equality, our freedoms. But those equalities that they're fighting for, we still don't get over here today. So, like, so what are you saying? Like, we're sending them over there to die in vain or something like that? Because the shit that they dying for, we still don't get over here today as African Americans. And you want to be mad at this motherfucker taking a knee peacefully, but you want to switch the narrative or you're disrespecting the flag when he clearly outlined why he was doing this. Police brutality, this, that, and the third. Oh, no, he's disrespecting the flags and the soldiers who go. I'm like, what the fuck? What, time out? Like, where was this when we weren't even on the field, first and foremost? Yeah. Second, they're going over there dying for the shit, and we still don't even get treated over here with what they're dying for. So it's like, so what are we really talking about? You know what I mean? So it's just dumb. You know what I mean?
I'm over here stumped because I didn't even know that prior to, I believe you said, whatever year, the NFL players weren't even on the field for the singing of the national anthem. So if the NFL were talking about, respecting the flag, then that should have meant that you were always out.
Always.
I didn't know that.
That's when I hear Drew Brees have his little statement that he did after, I forgot what happened, but Drew Brees came out and was talking his nonsense. I'm like, Drew, you were in the NFL before me. Like, you got drafted in like 2002, 2003. Like, I got drafted in 2007. And for 2 years, I wasn't even on the field during the national anthem. You know what I mean? Nobody would. Like, some guys would be, some guys wouldn't. You know what I mean? It was up to your discretion. But there was never an outcry. Like, bro, we had Facebook at that time. There was never no Facebook messages or nobody on Facebook crying or bitching about, oh, these NFL players aren't on the field. They're disrespecting the flag. But now all of a sudden, because Colin Kaepernick takes a knee to peacefully protest and people don't like it because it's an uncomfortable conversation that he's doing it for, you want to switch the narrative so you can just keep sweeping it under the rug. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, bro, like, stop playing games. Y'all are ass backwards out here. Like, stop. Y'all, you sound stupid. Like, you sound stupid. So,
and even sounding more stupid for me is there are so many players of color in the NFL, the NBA, and what I'm finding is that the world will celebrate your athleticism, but they don't want to fellowship with you. That's concerning for me. in doing some research for this conversation today, I read that you had an incident while a player for Kansas State, where you had won the championship. I forgot what team it was. Was it the Colts?
No, we had just played a game. We had just beat Texas, right? And you know, I go out with a few of my teammates, and we were trying to get into this function, and they wouldn't let us in. You know what I mean? And it's like, so again, from where I'm from, I grew up in a very diverse community, right? So I have Black friends, white friends, Mexican friends, Indian friends, and I grew up in this small town from the age of 3 to 17 when I left, right? So you know the dynamics of the world, like from now, because they know who I am, they're used to me and my brother. So I didn't walk around my town feeling threatened because everybody knew who we were. You know what I mean? It's a small town. You know what I mean? Oh, that's Awan, that's Zachary, and that's, you know what I mean? And, cool. And we grew up playing, sports with, all the kids around the town. So their parents, my mom worked a lot. So I was the caravan kid, the coach is picking me up, taking me here, there, you know what I mean? So now we're entrenched in the community. So they know who we are. You know what I mean? We're not a threat. So that's how I grew up, right? So when I get to Kansas, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm in here. I'm around, you're around a bunch of white kids who grew up in Kansas with no black people. And now I'm around a bunch of black teammates who grew up in Florida, Georgia, Texas, in the ghetto. You feel me? Like a total different way than me, right? And the only white people that go into their neighborhoods wear a badge. And not only is that the only white, and they fuck with them all day. So now they have a negative connotation of you, of a white person, because the only white people they see who give a damn, who go into their neighborhoods wear a badge. So they don't know how to communicate with you. And these white kids, all they know is what they've seen on TV. Oh, we're thugs, we're this, we're that, da, da, da. So that's what they know about us. So now we're in a situation trying to get into this party, and they stop us and da, 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 da. But mind you, there's white motherfuckers walking right by us, but we can't get in. So now I got my teammates, and these, they going back and forth at each other. I'm sitting here like, oh shit, y'all don't know how to communicate with each other. And you, because I'm with them, you don't fuck with me because I'm with them. Like, but you don't even know shit. If you don't even know half my friends are white. Like, I know how, but because I'm with these niggas, oh, that's how this works. You know what I mean? You start formulating these. I'm like, oh, that's how this shit works. All right. So you just kind of just. No, I mean, you just, I'm now grabbing my boy. I'm grabbing my, you know what I'm saying? Because now I realize what it is. I'm like, oh man, let's get up out of here, bro. Now that's when you really realize, damn, we really all we got. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And they the dreads, gold teeth, they don't know no better. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, let me get y'all. You know what I mean? This man, fuck this. We don't even need to deal with this shit, man. Because I know better. Y'all really don't. So let me get y'all out of this situation before shit gets real. And that's when you kind of start seeing like how the world really is. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, you don't even know why. Like all my friends is white. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, but because I'm with them, I'm guilty by association. Right. Oh, okay. That's cute. I got it. That's cool.
Yeah, it is difficult. We've been dealing with these things for so many years. I think that we're not done yet with facing these racist injustices. But I do think that everyone has a responsibility to kind of equip themselves for the next challenge, racial challenge that will definitely appear. So that being said, how do you show your solidarity for the disruption of this unjust racist climate? What do you do?
By sliding my resume across the desk. I'm like, look at this. Like, you can't say shit to me. You know what I mean? That's what you start realizing. It's like I don't get bitter, I get better. You know what I'm saying? So when you start with this bullshit, I'm like, all right, watch this. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm immune to your bullshit. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I have white. I know what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? And it's quite funny that you like, I'm immune to your bullshit, right? So, and that you start realizing that's kind of what America is scared of the most, is an educated black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're like, oh. Because I had an interview the other day. They're like, how do you feel when you walk into a room full of white? And you're like, the only was like, I walk in that motherfucker with my chest up. Because I already know half of them in here are scared of me because of what I look like, right? Yeah. And as outside of that, I know my resume, I belong in here. You know what I mean? And that makes them nervous because now there's only one of me. You know what I mean? So they're like, oh my God. But then you have to be in there. Oh, you have to go up to the person you know and lighten the mood. Hey, oh, he's cool. He's cool. But let 5 or 6 of us come in this bitch and watch 2 or 3 white people just start walking out. But oh shit, I'm immune to your bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I see what's going on. Like it's cute. You know what I mean? I see how y'all redlined us in these certain situations, and you put laws in place to like. I see it. That's cute. You know what I mean? But I'm immune to the bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, that's not going to stop me. And watch me bring all these motherfuckers in here with me. You know what I mean? Like you let me in the door, you fucked up because I'm, you know what I'm saying? Once I get my feet in there, I'm saying I'm gonna bring about 3 or 4 in here with me. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like you going, all right, like okay. All right.
I love it. You know, throughout this entire conversation, I've been a little bit distracted because I'm the same type of person. I love to have affirmations and positive vibes all around me. So you have 2 words in back of you.
Yeah.
You know, adjective list and the noun execution.
Yeah.
That's something that, you know, is important to you, just making sure that you have positive vibes and affirmations and positive people around you too. Is that important?
Yeah. So I have these right here, right?
Yeah.
And in the hallway, you know, I'll walk out, and then before I walk out, I'm like, all right, grit. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Made up of hustle, passion. So that's right before I hit the door. And then every morning I wake up, you know, from my bed, I can see these right here. You got talent, hustle. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got that on this wall. And then, you know, you're sitting on the couch and you're like, man, you know, what else? Like, I got that. You know, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. So I just kind of like, it keeps my eye, you're doing this for a bigger purpose. It's bigger. It's always bigger than you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so whatever you're going through, it might be hard, it might be tough, you know what I mean? Especially with what we do now, you know, trying to break into this luxury market. It's not easy, but you know what I'm saying? But it's bigger than yourself. So it's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, you know, Zac, you've given us a lot of keys, major keys. And, you know, when I'm speaking with successful people, I love the conversation when they're dropping jewels and keys without even knowing it. It's not just about, you know, pure talent. You know, it's about, you know, being well-grounded, making sure that you have positive vibes and positive people all around you, and perseverance, the persistence to know that it's much bigger than you. And as long as you get one foot into the door, you know, you get into the room and then you can bring other people right in behind you. So I don't know if you've even realized, you know, just how much information and how much knowledge that you've just dropped in this conversation for a Black boy or a Black girl growing up, saying, you know what, there may be a life outside of the NFL, and this is how I can successfully transition if I do into the NFL. But going back to the NFL, you know, there's a concern there. CTE, was that ever a concern for you?
Not really. You know, I played linebacker. It's one of the things where when I first started playing football, that wasn't really a thing. You know what I mean? It didn't start getting really prevalent until like the last 2 years of my career, you know, 3 years, you know, 2011 after lockout. And that's when a lot of things started changing, you know what I mean? Especially with the CTE becoming more, you know, out there. But for me, it's like, you know, I signed up for this, you know what I mean? And, you know, I broke in 2000, my second year, I broke my left leg. So I have an 18-inch rod and 2 screws in here, and my right ankle, I tore all the tendons. My right ankle is literally zip tied together, you know what I mean? And shoulders hurt and CT, you know what I mean? But it's like, I signed up for this. Like, nobody put a gun to my head and put this contract. It's like, you better sign that contract. I'm like, nah, like I voluntarily, I knew what I was getting myself into. So I'm not going to, my body hurts every day. You know what I'm saying? Every day. But I'm like, but I had some good ass times doing it though. So I mean, like, you take the good with the bad. Like, I'm not going to sit here and I don't have room to complain because nobody forced me to do this. So like, all right, cool. You live with it. You know what I mean? So CTE, clearly I'm still coherent. You know what I mean? It affects people differently in what you're going through in your life. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, being mentally aware and trying to be just as mentally strong as possible. You know what I mean? And just understand, I'm not the first, won't be the last. Shit happens in life, you know what I mean? Like I said, broke my leg, you know, rehab came. So all these different things that have happened in my life, I use them as lessons. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I got my scholarship pulled, you know, going in before I got to K-State. I was committed to another school the day before signing that they pulled my scholarship. So now I'm like, damn, for 3 months, I'm just what's going on in case it happens. And then, if you keep the positive energy, keep putting in the work, things just happen. So life happens, it's not always going to be peaches and cream. It's not. And
some people still don't even believe that CTE exists. And there was this big conversation after we saw the Netflix documentary of Aaron Hernandez. Did you ever play against Aaron Hernandez? What do you think about that story?
Aaron, yeah, I did play against Aaron. But at the time it was early on in the careers and everything like that. But yeah, you watch that and you got to see there was a lot of other things that went on in his life that affected, especially with his dad and how they went in with his whole personal background with whatever high school teammate and shit that he was like. I was like, why y'all do this? I mean, he's not even really here. He's not even here to defend himself, and y'all are really putting this man business out here like that. Like that's crazy as hell. So you start thinking about that. You're in the NFL and you have that stuff going on. You maybe have dibbled and dabbled in some, and that, and now you're in this man's game. So you might be trying to overcompensate for some shit. You know what I mean? Like, damn, like I got to be this tough, gritty man and this and third, but I'm doing this shit on the side, but people don't know about it. But I'm Aaron Hernandez. I have this persona about me that I'm just this tough, gritty. My dad is this. I'm come from these areas, this circumstance. So you got to understand, like the whole CTE of it all. Yeah, we all take hits. You know what I mean? We all take hits, but I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm gonna, pull out and start murdering motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to understand the entire totality of what you saw. Like this man had it. You can listen to the phone calls with his mom while he's in prison. He's still mad. He was still mad at her. You know what I mean? Like you ruined my life. You did it. He was still holding that anger behind bars, you know what I mean? Laughing and giggling and shit. It's like, he don't even realize really that man was just, it's unfortunate.
But you're playing such a brutal sport as a football player. So I can understand the aggression that Aaron Hernandez displayed even when he was incarcerated up until his untimely death. But the NFL doesn't really seem like a place where it encourages, a softer, gentler side of men. Maybe even a man who is a homosexual.
Nah,
I can understand his.
Because you gotta think, man. Because it's such a man's game. You know what I mean? Like if I'm watching, if I know you might dibble and dabble in some other shit, right? And now I'm watching tape and I see you getting blown off, like you're a D lineman or some shit, and this offensive lineman is just mushing you off the ball. He's just destroying you. So, I mean, get his soft ass up out of here, man. Because now that shit is affecting my job because this nigga's a punk. You know what I mean? Like now he's getting mushed because that's always going to be anytime you look at that individual from now on, you know what I mean? And if he's getting mushed or he's getting bullied, you're going to, man, get this soft ass off my field, man. Like, I ain't got time for that shit. Because I'm over here trying to get off this 300-pound block to go tackle this 210-pound running back, and I got this motherfucker over here getting blown up every snap, man. Get this nigga off my field. You know what I mean? That's just the mentality. You can't. It's such a. There's so much. So if you soft out there, you're getting pushed. Now you're sitting in my. I'm a linebacker, and I got this D lineman getting mushed into my visual. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, man. Like, hey, coach. Like now he's affecting me doing my job because his soft ass is. You know what I mean? So that's just the mental capacity of what happens when you're out there at that level. You know what I mean? Or just in football in general. So it's just. I mean, you got Michael Sam, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I mean? Like, that's the SEC. He's playing against Alabama, Florida, Georgia. This man was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He came out as homosexual and got drafted in the 7th round. You know what I mean? Like, he's the best player in the SEC, but because he came out as gay, he dropped all the way to the 7th round. Any other SEC Defensive Player of the Year is going to be 1st or 2nd round all day, any day. You know what I mean? Just without a doubt. But because he came out, that shit dropped him to the 7th round. And then he didn't even make a team, you know what I mean? But he just started doing the most. Before he got drafted, he's doing these Oprah shows and being all in these. I'm like, bro, you ain't even been in the locker room yet. Like, you haven't met your teammates yet. And you out here doing all this extra shit before training. Like, that's not the move, bro. Like, get situated first, make the team first. You know what I mean? Get a year or 2 under your belt and then try to do all this extra. But you tried to just go gung-ho into it, and no team is going to want that kind of distraction in their locker room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I get that that's the way that things are with the NFL. I'm just hoping that things get a little bit better as it comes to equity, diversity, and inclusion. So I just hope things get a little bit better in those realms. But let's just circle back to the show. What can we expect as we continue watching season 2 of VH1's Love and Listings? Because I'm on every week, every Monday I'm tuned in. What can I expect?
Yeah. I mean, it's a whirlwind, man. It's a lot of the rest of the season because how it's playing out right now. I'm really like I watch it because like I don't know how So every time I watch it every Monday, surprise too. Like how are they gonna edit this? So I'm watching it just like everybody else is. Like oh damn, okay. So I'm watching it like okay, this shit is good. Like okay, because now I get to see everybody else's scenes too. You know what I mean? During filming, I don't know what Ajani, Andrew, Eric, all that. I don't know what they're doing. So now when you get to see the full picture, I'm like, oh, so that's what they were up to. That's what, okay. I'm like, damn, you what? You know what I mean? So I'm watching this like, damn, you tripping. Oh, whoa. Like, so just knowing my scenes and knowing, you know what I mean? It definitely increases and you're going to want to keep watching. There's a lot more moving parts and it gets, you're going to want to keep watching.
Good. I know a lot of ladies want to keep watching, especially you've been showing a little body skin this season. So let's just get into your personal life a little bit. Are you currently dating anyone?
It's fluid. We out here. It's coronavirus season. It's there's not much you can really do. You know what I mean? So. It's just like you were an Instagram creep all of a sudden and shit because you can't go nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, I'm on the gram. Like should I slide into the DM or nah? Like I ain't know we can't go can't meet nowhere though. It's like so it's just with coronavirus and things like that. It's just I just be chilling, man.
I know, Zach. I went on a little date 2 days ago and we were both wearing masks and it was so strange. And then his mask started slipping down. I'm like, can you put your mask back on? Because I don't know if you've tested positive or negative. This whole dating space is weird, now that we're with the pandemic and COVID-19. But what about kids and marriage? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married?
That's the thing, there's so much, I feel like I have so much knowledge to pass down and shit. Like, I'm like, it's to that point where my bro, I'm 35 now, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, man. But, it just for the last few years, I've been just kind of just focused on, grinding and what I've been doing. So, I've dated, like I said, clearly, with Kat and things like that. So I've ventured into it, but like, I don't want to just always use work as an excuse, but it's just like where I'm at and what I'm doing. It's like, I'm dating somebody, man. It's like, especially at 35 and what I'm doing, like, and what it's like, I don't know if it's weird, man, because I'm like I want to date somebody, but it's like I do so much. But hey, man, like hey, you're gonna have to either you on your shit too, but I can't date somebody who's still trying to figure their shit out. You know what I mean? Because I got so much going on. Like I don't have the time to really manifest. Because when you're dating somebody, you're putting your time into that individual too, and it's like, damn, you still trying to figure shit out. Like I don't have really a lot of time to do that with you. You know what I mean? And so when I'm dating and out here in the dating scene, everybody, it feels like they're still kind of trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? And we all are, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, but I'm like, man, look, I'm 35. I'm not in my 20s where I have time to just grow. If we do, but I need you to be kind of more solidified and have some shit going on yourself. Because I'm just not, I don't have time to just be sitting here trying to figure it out with you right now. You know what I mean? So, so that's just kind of where it is.
I hear you. It is difficult, when you are serious about your career and you're hustling and you're grinding on a daily basis, it's kind of difficult to kind of infuse a relationship. I'm even trying to be more mindful of that. Carving out some time to exploring a meaningful relationship. But, I remember, the advice that Vivica Fox told you on one of the most recent episodes, you ain't no time.
Oh, shit. Yo, when she said that, I was like, it shows. I'm like, Vivica. You get it. Like, you get it.
We all got it.
Man.
But, Zac, any final words that you want to leave the viewers and listeners with? Anything else?
No, just show up. That everybody always asks me, how you do this and how you do that. Just show up. You know what I mean? And be steadfast in what you want to do and believe in yourself. Like me, I love me. You feel me? Like, you can't tell me shit about me. And plus, like I said, I got my own day in my hometown. I'm on 2 Hall of Fames. I'm a business owner in my dude. Like I walk around like this because I put in the work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have confidence in my abilities because everything I've done, I've been successful at. So it's like, and I know how to do it. So I mean, so just be steadfast in your goals and believe in yourself. You know what I mean? Because not everybody's gonna see your vision, and because somebody else doesn't see your vision doesn't mean you stop it. You know what I mean? Like, so just continue on and do you. And like I said, it's every Monday we got season 2 of Love Listings. 9/8 Central, and just tune in because we got 5 more episodes this season, and all 5 of them are gonna be a movie. You know what I mean? So it's wait, no, 6. Was that episode 4 that just aired? Yeah, so we got 6 more episodes. So it's gonna be interesting.
Well, we'll definitely be tuned in. I know I'll be tuned in. I've been tuned in every single week since season 1. But Zac, this was a very refreshing conversation. I love to speak to individuals who really seem to have their heads screwed on tightly, no pun intended. But I also love your limitless execution, the 2 words behind you. We'll be tuned into VH1's Love Listings every single Monday on VH1, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Zac, thank you so much for being a guest.
No problem.
I really appreciate you. You take care. And once again, don't be no side piece, brother.
Hell no, we good. We good.
Take care. I'll talk to you later.
All right, you have a good one.
Bye-bye. There you have it, everyone. Another edition of Sanya on Air. We were just joined by one of the cast members of VH1's Love Listings, Zac. He is amazing. Really amazing, Zac Diles. Really, really amazing to be so young. I really believe that he has a great head on his shoulders. And I love speaking with celebrities who have found success, who have a diversified portfolio. They're not just sticking to one thing. Let me tell you, that's a tip. That's a major key right there. The best way to stay broke, do one thing. You have to branch off, diversified portfolios, people. This should be your model for 2020, because I'm ready to throw 2020 in the trash. But let's make 2021 better by diversifying your portfolio. Limitless execution, as the words behind Zac Diles so eloquently read. I love you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to all Sanya on Air shows, because if you miss a show, you definitely miss a lot. Sanya on Air can be found streaming on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, and Buzzsprout. And make sure you head on over to www.sanyaonair.com and check out all of my amazing past shows and find out who's coming up next. I love you so much for tuning in. Of course I love you. And like I said, tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm about to pack up some clothes and head on out. Smooches, bells. I love you so much for tuning in. Take care.